The Leake Mound Interpretive Trail is sponsored by the Federal Highway Administration, the Georgia Department of Transportation, and the University of West Georgia. Hi, and welcome to another Leake Mounds Interpretive Trail podcast. I'm Jennifer Teeter.
And I'm Marcus Toft. If you're following along on the trail, this podcast corresponds to the Complex and Connected panel.
And if you are following along on the trail, it might be hard to realize from what the Leake Site looks like today, but it was actually a complex of multiple structures from the woodland period.
Yeah, on the other side of the Etowah River are 3 other sites that archaeologists found while they were investigating the Leake Site, and they believe that they were all related or linked to the Leake Site.
Yeah, and those 3 sites are called Indian Fort, Ladd's Cave, and Shaw Mound.
Well, let's start with Indian Fort and kind of talk about what that was.
Well, from the trail right now, you can probably see Ladd's Mountain, and on top of that was Indian Fort, which was a stone enclosure.
So like a defensive wall, kind of?
People might want to say that, but it actually wasn't defensive. It was probably ceremonial.
Okay, yeah, and I think there's a report or a drawing that shows, from 1883, that shows it, and there's a bunch of openings, which, if you think about it, would make for a pretty poor, fort.
Exactly. And there are a lot of these woodland stone structures around Georgia. One used to be on top of Stone Mountain.
And then, wasn't there another on...
One still exists at Fort Mountain.
That's right. And another site that may have been related to the Leake Site was called Ladd's Cave.
Yeah, that was a cavern located on Ladd's Mountain.
And I think in the 1880s, people from the Bureau of Ethnology, the Division of Mound Exploration, investigated the cave a little bit.
And that report indicates that it had a sealed entrance and contained human bones.
And I think that even if human remains hadn't been reported, archaeologists still may have thought that, or believed that Ladd's Cave was part of the Leake Site, just because of the importance that a lot of American Indians place on caves.
So Ladd Cave seems pretty important, but it's not here anymore, is it?
No, unfortunately it was destroyed as they mined Ladd's Mountain. And then the third site that archaeologists consider to be part of the Leake Site is called the Shaw Mound.
It was a stone burial mound that's also located near Ladd's Mountain.
Yeah, the person that they found buried there was buried pretty elaborately, and so archaeologists think that he or she was probably an important leader of the Leake Site.
I think it's important to point out that there are human bones found in Ladd's Cave, but those don't really exist anymore, and this was the first modern documentation of a burial at the Leake Site.
Right. They have pictures of the mound. There's reports about when the mound was taken apart, and even some of the artifacts that were buried with this individual exist today.
So I think we can figure out how the story of the Shaw Mounds ends.
Yeah, just like Indian Fort and Ladd's Cave, it no longer exists.
In, I think, the 40s, it was taken apart for stone, and the stones were sold off.
Yeah.
But luckily, some people did get in there and take pictures and save some artifacts.
Right, and those artifacts are being preserved at the Waring Lab at the University of West Georgia. And just to wrap it up, Jennifer, the reason archaeologists think that all 3 of these places were connected to the Leake Site is because each type of site, like the stone enclosure, the cave, and the stone mound, were all the types of sites that were found at middle woodland sites.
Well, thanks for listening to another Leake Mounds Interpretive Trail podcast. The Leake Mounds Interpretive Trail project was done in partnership with the City of Cartersville and Bartow County. Music by Tommy Wildcat.